Yo, what's up, Internet? We've seen the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. My name's David Webb.
I'm Ariel Edwards.
We get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to the first ever spoiler chat here on twitch.tv/nerd. We're not live on Twitch right now.
No.
But this is going up on our YouTube page if you're a YouTube subscriber. Just quick at the top, I want to let you know we do a morning show. The nightly morning show that is currently, we have 68 episodes as of this on the YouTube. But if you want to watch it live, we do it Monday through Friday on twitch.tv/nerdynightly, 10 a.m. Eastern every day over there. But we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk about Wanda and Vision.
In WandaVision.
In WandaVision. The new series dropped on Disney Plus today. I believe it's January 15th, 2021. This is sort of the first big release of the year.
Yeah. It is. Not really, sort of. Nothing else really big has come out.
True.
So this is kind of in the big thing. Disney Plus finished up with Mandalorian, gave us a little bit of a break over the holidays, and then came back with some exciting storylines. We watched the first 2 episodes right now.
Yeah, they dropped. The plan is to, as far as we understand, drop 2 today, and then every week will be 1 after this. And we'll probably talk a lot about why we think they dropped 2 up front. We had the idea to start doing spoiler chats. Obviously, other channels have done this before. It's not an original idea. But we had the idea during Mandalorian, but we didn't... It was like near the end of Mandalorian, so we didn't want to start. We're like, we'll start with WandaVision.
Yeah.
And I think we're also going to do one for the season premiere of Batwoman next week.
Yes.
So we're very excited to meet Javicia Leslie's Batwoman.
Yeah.
We might start doing these for more things. Because why not just talk?
Yeah.
I like talking to you. I like talking to you. WandaVision.
And it's nice to talk and not have to worry about spoiling. We are pretty careful in our Twitch chats and in our morning show that we don't talk about spoilers unless the thing has been out for like a year minimum.
At least. Yeah.
So this would be kind of nice to actually really hammer out the details without worrying about spoiling it for anybody.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
I really liked it.
Which episode do you prefer of the 2? It's tough because we watch them back to back, but I'm curious.
It is tough. They're kind of like almost blended together into my head because they're only 20 to 30 minutes each. And
but they're also both so different because they do... The premise of the show seems to be that every episode is going to pay homage to a different decade of sitcom television in the United States. The first episode taking place in the 1950s. The second episode taking place in the 1960s. It's funny. I was trying to think like what could I reference as far as like 1950s sitcoms, and I know that I've seen them, but like I am not of an age where I'm like, oh yeah, a 1950s sitcom is this, and a 1960s sitcom is this. Yeah. The distinction between those two things is not very strong for me.
Yeah.
And just to jump right into the spoilers, there's a big question asked in episode 2, which is, who's doing this to you? And what I think is really interesting about that question is that it appears from what we're seeing so far that Wanda is stuck in this fictional creation.
Like a virtual reality type of thing.
Sorry. But it does appear that it could either be something that she is putting herself in through her powers, or something that someone has put her in. And there's 2 huge questions about both of those things.
Yeah.
But the big question, the big question, if it's Wanda that is putting herself here, is Wanda aware enough of American television? Like, I was raised in North America. Granted, I was raised in Canada, but I watch American sitcoms. I don't feel like I can draw hard distinctions between the 50s and 60s of sitcom. So if it does turn out down the line that Wanda is putting herself here, my question is, why does this girl from Sokovia know so much about American sitcom? Like, why is this the world that she builds for herself?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was a passion of
It's
hers.
all she had growing up.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's possible. It just in the middle of the second episode, or no, it was in the first episode. They're having the dinner party, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she's from Sokovia," and in that moment, my brain just kind of went, "Oh yeah, why does Wanda know what any of this is?"
Maybe she's got a lot of time on her hands. I don't know.
It was just an interesting thing that occurred to me of like if the premise is that she's created this fictional world for herself to live in, it is interesting to me that she's created such an American world and that she didn't. And obviously we're 2 episodes into the show, and as they unspool the mystery for us, maybe the answer to that will be there. I just hope they do kind of answer that, because I was definitely sitting there going, why would this woman from Eastern Europe create a fantasy world of American television?
Maybe they had a lot of American TV?
Maybe. And honestly, if that's what it was, if there's like a flashback later on in the show and it shows that like she grew up watching American TV and that was the explanation, I would actually be very... There is something really thematic about that, right? About the idea that the rest of the world sees America as this like fantastic, especially like places like Eastern Europe, and you hear about it when people are fleeing Syria and stuff like that. People look at America as this golden land of opportunity. I can't remember what it's from, but there's stories of like Americans or people literally thinking that America has streets paved with gold. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like this fantastical place to get to. And obviously once you're there, you're like, no, it's not quite that.
Not the case.
Especially for people who, look like they're from Syria. Just realistically, it's not this bountiful, kind, genial place that it is in 1950s sitcom. And it is interesting, like, she is in this place where, like, everyone is polite and everyone's nice. There's anger and hurt and all that under the surface, but from the face out.
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah, it's that. It's that very your best face forward type deal. We've kind of lost it in the era of like the internet, but that sense of decorum, and what is acceptable and what is not.
But I prefer lack of decorum. Be honest with me. If you don't like me, don't pretend. Tell me. Just be honest with me.
Oh, 100%. I don't know if anyone would rather live in a world where everyone's just fake and no one says what they're thinking. Like I don't think that's the case.
That premise really sticks out in episode 2.
Yeah. Oh. And it's a very interesting world. And especially because it's not real.
It can't be.
No, like it's not real. The way that they've set things up with first of all the outside world influences coming in. There's like the red helicopter. They're in like a black and white.
And the red helicopter has the S.W.O.R.D logo on it.
Yeah. It's.
Do you know what S.W.O.R.D is?
No.
So for those of you who aren't aware, S.W.O.R.D, which is referenced it's the logo. It's like the circle with like the sword. It kind of looks like the logo of the Jedi Order. But it's the logo that is in the end of episode 1 when they are pulling back from the computer screen that the person is watching WandaVision on. There's the S.W.O.R.D logo there. S.W.O.R.D is the organization in the comic books that is the other side of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is what Nick Fury works for, and that we've obviously met S.H.I.E.L.D. throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. S.W.O.R.D in the comic books is typically a global defense organization to protect Earth from extraterrestrial threats. And we thought that S.W.O.R.D was originally introduced at the end of Captain Marvel in the post-credit sequence that has Nick Fury in space. Sorry if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, but this is spoiler chat. So, but the interesting thing about this version of S.W.O.R.D is that they've actually changed what the W means. Because these are all anagrams, or not anagrams. What is it when...
Acronyms.
Acronyms, thank you.
Yeah.
Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is an acronym for Strategic Homeland Intelligence something League of Defense or whatever.
Yeah.
And then S.W.O.R.D. So in the original S.W.O.R.D, the W stood for World. But in the logos that they've been putting out for WandaVision, the W is it's Sentient World. Oh, what is it? Sentient World Operations League of Defense or something like that. No, Observation something Defense. This version of S.W.O.R.D is the Sentient Weapon Observation Research and Defense, maybe. And so it seems like they're changing S.W.O.R.D in the MCU now to monitor a weapon like the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is one of the more powerful members of the Avengers. From a global perspective, she's a huge threat because she is one of the few... You know, Kevin Feige has said that had they been able to really go toe-to-toe, Scarlet Witch could have taken down Thanos in Endgame. Obviously, that didn't happen the way that he said it could have. But, you know, the Scarlet Witch is very, very powerful. And it seems that S.W.O.R.D is monitoring her. The question, again, is... Are they monitoring her because she's trapped in her own mind? Or are they monitoring her because they're worried that someone is tampering with her?
Yeah. Which I think is going to be kind of the biggest question. Like, what is the reasoning for all of this?
Yeah. 100%.
Which, you know, I'm very curious to find out. They've been setting it up really well. With the little hints, the helicopter, in the first episode, when the guy starts choking. And then they get stuck in, like, a little bit of a loop, and Scarlet Witch is, like, frozen, and, like, it doesn't know how to cope with it. Like, it's very clear that she's not fully in control of the world that she's inhabiting right now. Yeah.
Which is really cool. I think what was so striking about that red helicopter was how red it was.
Yeah.
Like,
everything looks amazing.
Yeah, the black and white effect really worked. And I think I'm going to miss it. I know, because we're moving forward in time, and the next episode will be in the 70s, and we had color television in the 70s. But there was something... Elizabeth Olsen has such an incredible... old Hollywood look to her in this. I never noticed before because I've only seen her in modern movies, but done up in that fashion, I was like, oh wow, like you really look like you fit into that era. Paul Bettany a little bit less so. Paul Bettany just doesn't have that like all American, but he's also British. I thought it was hilarious in the first episode when he's like, oh yes, my wife is European in his British accent, and I was like, are we not going to point out the fact that you're British? Like, you're also not American, dude.
I know. Well, my thought when you brought that up was that, oh, maybe it's American TV based for Vision, but then I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Because Vision is also not American.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe she's pulling it from Vision's, because Vision doesn't forget things. So maybe Vision has every television show in his head.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It was very interesting. But the color, I think I might miss the black and white as well.
Yeah, it looks great.
Actually. Yeah, it looks really good what they did with it. And the moments where they used color were really stunning.
The blood in the hand. The blood in the hand was, for a moment that felt, that you know, had a comedic aspect to it. You know, the voice over the radio and like her Dottie's overly dramatic reaction to it is quite, it's jarring, and it's got a little bit of comedy to it. It's a little scary. Yeah. You know, it's all of those things, and then all of the energy is sucked out of that scene when she opens and it's this bright red blood. It was a really it was great. Yeah,
that's the only color that we see until everything goes full color.
Until Vision is in color.
Well, Vision is red as well.
But Vision's the first person in color. Wait, for that sequence, she looks at Vision and she sees him in color first, and then the room around becomes color in a sequence that is really cool. There's a shot in the trailers where Vision is in his Halloween costume version of Vision, and then it like fuses, it like melts away into his MCU costume. Yeah. And that shot in the trailer is one of the most beautiful. It's a great shot. I'm very excited for that sequence later on. Yeah, they've
definitely put a lot of thought and money into making the show look very good. It looks
so expensive. For a show shot in black and white in 4:3 aspect ratio, it looks so expensive.
Yeah. Yes, but I'm here for all of it.
Yeah. What do you think of the laugh track?
It's I understand why they did it for sure, and
you couldn't not.
You couldn't not. It needs to be there. But sometimes it is a little overzealous at times.
Which is funny because it's real people.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually find sometimes that genuine laugh tracks are less enthusiastic than real audience members. Mm-hmm. And I got to go to a taping of Trevor Noah's Daily Show before he got. But the week before he started, they did 5 fake shows that were full shows, and they had audiences come in and be their like test audiences. And I was at the last one, the Friday night show, or maybe it was a Thursday night show, and we were sitting there, and the guy, the like warm up comedian, came out and I was like, "Hey guys, the show's funny. It is a comedy. Just react the way that you would act. Like, you're not on camera. This isn't a test." You don't have to like, and he like started his routine by letting us know. They're like, just be genuine. You don't have to be extra loud for the camera. The mics will pick you up. And it is interesting though, because I feel like there is, when you bring an audience in and they're like, all right, you get to watch WandaVision. Like, you get to see this thing. Yeah. People are like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that was a joke.
Yeah, they like to project that inner excitement, I think. Because, like, there
were a couple of laughs that I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, that's a lot.
That was funny, but, like...
Yeah, and, like I get it. I get it. You're there. You're watching the show. It's a really incredible opportunity that you've been given. But sometimes it's a little bit much.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to not get through this episode without talking about how good Elizabeth Olsen is on the show. I've been seeing on Twitter people saying like she's got Emmy potential, and I totally see it, because the tightrope that she is walking is masterful. The carrying and I know I said this on the morning show this morning, but carrying the heart of the Scarlet Witch that we know, and while also portraying a character in a time period, that's so funny that someone just followed the Twitch channel.
Well, we're recording this.
We record this in OBS, so we get the alert. But, you know, walking that tightrope of having that characterization, but also it still really feels like Wanda. Vision doesn't really feel like Vision, which is interesting.
No, but it's because Vision is in her mind.
Well, and Vision is dead. Yeah,
like she's fully creating him. He is whatever she needs to be in those
moments. Is he though? Is he her creation? Because what's really interesting about it is that he has full life and full scenes when she is not present.
That's true.
And so what's interesting about the show is, like, if it is all in her imagination, is she imagining Vision goes to the library, chews gum, it gums up the words, and like she would have to be like actively creating that sequence of events?
Yeah. Or subconsciously.
Do you really think gum is Vision's greatest weakness?
I hope so. I hope that that's like
the one thing he can't do.
That
is chew gum.
Yeah. That is his biggest weakness.
I like his floppy hair in that sequence. When he's like drunk Paul Bettany, and his hair is just kind of, the whole magic sequence, his hair is like dancing around his face. I was like, that's a nice touch.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's nice to see him have fun. Paul Bettany's having so much fun on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And they really, they're a cute romantic little couple. They look at each other with like those soft eyes that you want them to.
Yeah.
It's nice.
They work really well together.
Kathryn Hahn is also on the show as the neighbor. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
Her, what kind of housewife would I be if I didn't have a gourmet meal ready? I was like, I love you.
Yeah, she's great. She gets some of the best moments so far. I am very excited to see what else she does in the show.
There has been online chatter that she might be the big bad of the show. And I want it so bad, just because watching Kathryn Hahn have a villainous turn I don't think anything would bring me more joy.
I would love that.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, if you had to place a bet, 2 episodes in, is it in Scarlet Witch's head, or is someone doing this to her? Is she doing this to herself, or is someone else doing this to her? It feels kind of 50-50, right?
Yeah, like it could go either way, to be honest. I think someone's doing it to her.
I have a feeling that it's going to turn out that it's all coming from her powers, but that she's being influenced by someone else.
Yes, for sure. I think, I don't think someone has, like, put her in this simulation. I think that they've just engineered it.
And we're going to have to find out if we're wrong as we watch. Yeah. We're going to do this every week. I like being able to talk spoilers.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is there any big spoilers we haven't talked about?
No.
Oh, the beekeeper. What do you think of the beekeeper?
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
It was that seemed scary. That was genuinely... People coming out of the ground is such a weirdly scary thing.
Yeah, those manholes, like, I don't... Yeah.
And the fact that he has bees on him.
I know.
Like, those poor bees.
I was very confused.
Take them back to their hive.
I'm excited to see what the heck that was.
I have a feeling that guy never comes back.
Oh, God.
There's no bees ever again. They're just, like, throwing random stuff at us.
I hope not.
What did you think of the magic sequence?
Oh, it was brilliant. Brilliant.
I love the lady who's like, is that how mirrors work?
Yeah.
Shut up.
She's like, no, okay. Cool. We're just gonna...
The mirrors were behind the curtain. Wait a second.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
The whole concept of Vision is essentially drunk because he has chewing gum
stuck in his gears.
Yeah. But he can't just phase it out of him. Which was weird, because then he passes the hat through himself in the point where the gum is. And I was like, I thought he was going to, like, pass the hat through himself, and then the gum would be on the hat.
Yeah.
But no, the gum's just in there. But the concept of, like, okay, so Vision is going to, like, actually do magic, and Scarlet Witch has to do actual magic
to make it
hide
seem
the fact.
Like they're not actually doing magic.
But it was great.
Yeah.
I was super into it. That was a very funny idea.
It was very well done. Very funny. And they both, like, their acting has been stellar, but they both pulled it off. Yeah,
it's interesting. This, in a lot of ways, this feels like the most creative thing the MCU has done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the MCU kind of... Sometimes a criticism of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that it is a little bit thematically and tonally and visually similar to itself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's to its strength as a movie franchise. I think that you go to an MCU movie knowing what you're showing up for, and you get the experience that you want.
I think that, honestly, this is taking a bit of a risk, but I'm happy that
I think it's well. Because I also don't think this is... I don't think this is as much for kids. This show skews a little bit older thematically.
Yeah.
I think tonally. I think a child would watch this and be a little confused about...
what's happening.
Because it's a lot of, like, relationship drama.
Yeah.
And adult... Like, a lot of the jokes, especially in the second episode, are, like, the joke of the women's group.
Yeah.
And, like, the social politics of being a housewife.
Yeah.
And, like, that's a funny joke to me, because I'm an adult and I understand what's going on.
Yeah, but to a 12-year-old, probably not.
Yeah, and I think that the show will probably get closer to that age group as it goes on, and when there's more action. But these first two episodes, like, the joke of the dinner party sequence isn't exactly, like, a child... or even, like, a young teenager kind of age joke. It's really... That joke is more... It's just more for adults.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And so it is interesting to me that this feels like it skews older than maybe an Ant-Man movie or Infinity War, you know, or any other Marvel movie.
I just think that, like, this idea for them to really flesh it out and make, like, have it as complicated as it is hard to make kid-friendly. That idea of, like, kind of being trapped in
100%.
Like... yeah, it's tough, and I'm glad with how they're doing it so far. Mm-hmm. I don't, like, if they try to make it more kid friendly, I don't know how I'll feel about it.
I don't think they will. I think this show is what the show is. This show reminds me a lot of Legion. If you've seen Legion, which is actually interesting because Legion is Professor X's son, and Wanda is Magneto's daughter in the comic books. So it is interesting that these two shows with these two mind-bending characters have very similar tones.
Yeah.
Legion has a lot of aspects of, like, this, like, weird, what, are we trapped in a world? Are we the world?
Is it the Matrix?
And Legion very much feels like a spiritual prequel to this show. Mm-hmm. And Legion's also excellent. It's great 3 seasons of television. Highly, highly recommend. but I don't think they're going to change the tone of the show. I just think it is interesting that for a franchise that sometimes gets some criticism that I think it deserves, I don't think it is unfair to say that the MCU is a little samey sometimes. I love every single one of those movies. The criticism is that, and it's a minor one. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I want my MCU to be my MCU. I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
I just think it's so interesting that for their first television show, they've decided to take such a big swing. Mm-hmm. And they're not, they're kind of like, all right, well, our movies are our movies. Because I have a feeling Black Widow is going to feel like an MCU movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to... Eternals might... Eternals has the potential to be kind of left fieldy. Mm-hmm. But like Spider-Man 3 is going to be an MCU movie. WandaVision it takes place in the MCU and it feels like it takes place in the MCU, but it is a swing for the fences. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it is a lot of the reason why it works thus far for me is Elizabeth Olsen is really carrying the show. Yeah,
she's incredible.
They lucked out with her. Yeah. When they first cast Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're casting the third Olsen sister. Like,
yeah, same.
Little did we know that she was such a phenomenal actress.
Yeah. I'm more excited. I'm excited for more of her stuff because each time I see her, she gets better and better, and I'm just so excited to see what else she does. I'm
also excited to see, I think that the range that she presents gives this show so much room to play in. Yeah. Because she's so funny. Mm-hmm. She carries the dramatic scenes very well. Mm-hmm. And she flips between the two so quickly. And so I feel like a show like this that does have a lot of comedy in it, but also like some horror and some action, and she plays all of it so well, and she kind of like morphs into whatever the scene needs in a way that doesn't feel like it changes the character. So I think that she gives this show this a big playground of her emotions. Yeah. Is that a weird metaphor? No. And I think that to the show's credit, they're using her abilities very well as well thus far to do it. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was 27 minutes.
Yeah. I know, I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay, we got
All right. Spoilers.
Sorry. We got excited. It was a good show.
I like this show a lot. Yeah. I'm very excited for WandaVision. We'll be back. We're going to do this. It'll probably be shorter next week, so it'll be one episode instead of two.
Exactly.
But we'll be back. We're going to do this for all 8 weeks of this, because I think there's 9 episodes. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong. But yeah, WandaVision, if you haven't seen it yet, it is on Disney+. If you watched this and haven't seen it yet, we didn't really spoil it too much. It's hard to spoil the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, go watch it. You're missing out.
It's really just a phenomenal show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. All right, y'all. You can watch us on Twitch. I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
And I'm over at twitch.tv/ClarishDakaris.
And you can follow us across the internet at those social media handles. Mm-hmm. As we always say, my name's David Webb.
I'm Ariel Edwards.
Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.
Bye-bye.